morning, everybody, and thanks for waking up with The Chase.
No way.
My God!
That's a 1-1, ladies and gentlemen.
Go to Dave. I must ask you a question right now.
That's a 1-1, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, hell yeah, brother.
Whoa, whoa.
Sit back, relax, and crack a cold one. The Chase is live. Hey, y'all. It's Monday. After a very, very, very long week, we are back in the studio, but a ton of fun. Anyways, we are your hobby host. Thank you for waking up with The Chase if you're on the West Coast. If you're on the East Coast, you're probably just hanging out with The Chase at work. But we thank you for that anyways. Oh, and for our friends across the pond, of course. Good morning to you guys, too. So here we go. He already teased it in the chat, so why don't we just give it over to my co-host, David Yarger, so he can explain what the hell is going on with his face.
Midlife crisis. Oh, my God. All my teams are losing in November. The Cavs are 3-4. The Bills are 0-2. The Sabres are 1-5. Oklahoma football 0-2. Syracuse basketball is 1-0. So keep up the good work there. But yeah, this is what happens when you devote too much time into your sports teams.
PJ says no win November. Now play the sound. No win November.
Oh my God.
There you go. Ooh, Diz says, did you lose a bet? I like it. It's not bad.
Lost several.
Not bad. not a bad little handlebar there, brother.
I appreciate it. You know, I don't think it's going to last too long. I'm probably going to an episode or two, and then I think I'm giving up on the Movember. It's not for me.
Guess I'm a lone man. I'm a lone wolf here then, I guess. I'll have to keep it up. Movember, or at least no shave November, you know. We'll just keep it going. Oh, the shoe's on the other foot today. Look who's cracking a cold one for the boys. Speaking of cold one, it was a little cold in Toronto this weekend, but Friday we had an amazing experience, in my opinion. We were off to the Toronto Sport Card Expo, and we had a chance to do the show live there. Some technical issues. It's all right. It happens. We all know.
We get it.
But we did get that episode up on YouTube, so please make sure you go to dacardworld.com. What I meant was go to youtube.com. See, I was waiting for the dramatic effect. Make sure you go to youtube.com/dacardworld, and that is where you will find our interview with Brad Hartland of PSA Canada. Make sure you're checking that out. He had a lot of good things to say. So unfortunately, we couldn't stream on Twitch, but of course, the replay is there on YouTube for you. It'll live there, so check that out. The stage looked amazing. I thought the aesthetics was really unbelievable. I really liked 100%. The look of it. I felt legit. Not that I don't feel legit here, but I felt legit there up on the stage. So we had fun. We were only able to spend the day there Friday, but we got a lot done. And like I said, we're going to have a vlog coming out, so keep an eye out for that on youtube.com/dacardworld. Yes. What did you think of the weekend, though? What did you think of your first trip to Toronto?
So Toronto was awesome. Like you said, you know, unfortunate technical issues where couldn't go live. But the show was awesome. Brad's interview was great. I didn't realize how many people he's met, and like he's friends with Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys. Like Amazing. That was awesome. And then, you know, got to meet up with Coach Co, you know, Kyle from King of the Cards, a bunch of other people. Wait till you guys see the vlog. The vlog's going to be awesome. We were ripping packs with Faisal, the card plugs, and his brother. Like, that was a good time. I mean, It was just...
Things got out of hand quick when we started ripping with Nabs and Faisal, but that was an absolute blast. So, of course, like David said, make sure you're checking that out. Keep an eye out for all that content. I'm sure it'll come out throughout the week. We'll have the vlog, but once again, thank you to the Toronto Sport Card Expo for hosting us. Steve Menzie, of course, helping us out and getting us the chance to be on the main stage. So hopefully we get a chance to do that more at other shows.
Yes.
Can't wait for that. But D. Springfield says, to be fair, Canada barely has the internet. You're right. They have Bell up there. They don't have Verizon. They don't have FiOS. They don't have Charter Spectrum or
had to turn
Xfinity. You know, they got Bell.
Had to turn the roaming on.
Had to turn the roaming on for sure. All right, but without wasting too much time, how about we get into the rest of the show here? I know you're struggling this November with your teams and your facial hair as well, but do you think you could maybe give your teams some motivation to get back on the winning track?
Sure. Every problem is a gift. Without problems, we would not grow. If anyone's having problems, it's definitely my teams right now. That comes from Tony Robbins. Thanks, Tony.
That sweet, sweet man. I had to make sure we put a picture of Tony Robbins up there. I needed the picture, I needed you guys to have the full effect of a Tony Robbins quote. So thank you for that. And thank you. I really appreciate
Yes.
I love this. I love the robot penguin, I was telling people. So thank you for the compliment. I really appreciate that. Anytime I can find robot penguin gear, I'm going to buy it and I'm going to wear it, even though I'm a Sabres fan. All right, well, hopefully that helps get the teams back on track. But before we go too far, let's talk about what we're going to discuss on Monday's episode. We'll have what's coming out in this week's Wax. A few Cleveland Cavaliers players made some noise in the hobby this past week. A Babe Ruth glove sold at auction, and we'll have more on that. Mattress Mac, the guy that won $75 million off the Houston Astros World Series victory, has his own card now. We'll check that out. We'll also talk to Lauren Taylor as our live guest. Taylor is an officially licensed artist for the MLB, MLBPA, and the Baseball Hall of Fame. Also does some work with Topps too, so we'll make sure we'll talk about that. And lastly, don't forget we have a box rip giveaway, and we're doing 2022 Origins football, as you can see right in front of me. But first, before we get into that, let's check out who the winner of Wednesday's 22-23 Upper Deck Series 1 hockey is. We asked you guys who you think is going to be the winner of the Calder Trophy this year, and today's lucky winner is... Thanks to Meerkat for the text here. It is Twitch user T-Towns86 with Mason McTavish. What are you doing to me here? There you go. We don't have Cody's not here today. We don't have the guy. So there you go. There you go. Congratulations to T-Towns with the answer of Mason McTavish.
Nice. Little outside the box answer.
I like it. I always like the outside the box stuff. You know what? Life's too short to bet the under. Hammer the over is what I always say.
Lots of game left.
Anyways, if you don't know, now you're going to know. Make sure that you watch out for a Twitch whisper from us, the DA Card World account. We will whisper you on Twitch. And once you see that, please, please, please make sure that you email us your shipping information to thechase@dacardworld.com.
Yes.
All right, let's get into what is hitting the shelves in this week's Wax. David, could you start us off, please?
Yes, so baseball season might be over, but that doesn't end card market. So first off, we have 2022 Panini Mosaic Choice Baseball Hobby. In this product, there are 2 autographs, 2 choice exclusive parallels, and 2 choice exclusive rookie variations per box. This product also includes the stellar rookie class, such as O'Neal Cruz, Wander Franco, and many more. There's 1 pack per box with 8 cards in the pack. Dave, could you go back for 1 second to that one picture? I just wanted to see who the autos were. Okay. Oh, yeah. There's your Cruz. You got a Tatis Jr. and even Brandon Marsh, who was just playing in the World Series for the Phillies. So Brandon Marsh, noted great facial hair guy.
Deep class for sure. So looking forward to that. And of course, Mosaic, you can get things like the Genesis and all different color variations. So Mosaic, pretty much, I would say almost second to Prism. So people will definitely enjoy that product. Looking forward to that.
Indeed.
All right, next up, we head to the pitch for 2022 Panini Prism Choice FIFA World Cup Soccer Hobby. Make sure you're looking out for autographs in the product, in addition to 2 numbered parallels, 1 base Prism Silver, and 2 other choice exclusive Prisms per box. Find autographs of stars past and present from the field of 32, including Panini exclusive athlete Kylian Mbappe. Also, be on the hunt for short printed dual signatures highlighting teammates and compatriots. And just to note, if you saw here on the website as we pulled it up, the product can only ship to Asia and Australia at the moment.
Yeah.
But, World Cup starts in a couple weeks, so obviously that's going to start ramping up the popularity of that product. And we've already seen so many people ripping stuff, so I'd imagine the Panini Prism choice there will be no different for the World Cup.
I want to get into the World Cup this year. I'm not like a big soccer guy, but I need to get into the World Cup. I feel like it's exciting.
I have a soccer bar that's right around the corner from my apartment called Mesque, so I definitely want to check that out because I know they're going to be playing everything. So I'd be interested to see how that atmosphere is. It always looks packed.
I would love to join you. Next, we head back to baseball. We head back to the Diamond for 2022 Topps Allen and Ginter Baseball Hobby. I know this is a big favorite for some. Collect all the new inserts and search for on-card autos and relic books. Additionally, check out 3 hits per box, 1 box loader, and 1 mini base card per pack. And all new mini and full-sized inserts spotlight everything from baseball, lexicon, and banner seasons to sandwiches and national parks. Don't forget there are 24 packs per box and 8 cards per pack, in the Allen and Ginter. So I know that's kind of a lot of people actually look forward to that one every year. Am I wrong?
Was it Allen and Ginter? Yeah, definitely one of the most notable baseball releases, I would say, of the season for Topps. People love the look of those cards. They are really nice cards. The art on them is beautiful, and a lot of good stuff to come out of there. So, yeah, usually collectors, people who like to build sets in that too, love Allen and Ginter. So I'm sure we'll be ripping some of that. Yeah, H. Cooper, love A&G. A lot of people love that stuff. Yes. So looking forward to that. Lastly, today we have more baseball. It's 2022 Topps Chrome Cosmic Hobby. In this product, there's 1 nucleus refractor card per box. Additionally, find, quote, launched into orbit inserts, which are 1 in every 10 packs. Also look for Cosmic Chrome and Stargaze autographs and collect the whole 200 card base set. There are 20 packs per box in this product. So there you go. Dave Stevens right here showing you some examples. Beautiful Juan Soto right there. I love it. I love the variations of Topps Chrome now. Yeah. It's not just Topps Chrome anymore. There's like Cosmic, or I know there's some other Topps Chrome variants throughout the year, I feel like. So I'm interested in this Cosmic stuff.
Yeah, very galactic look.
It's out of this world.
You know what's...
Oh, what? I can't have a dad joke? Everybody else can? Come on. Throw me a bone here. Oh, anyways, David, what do you say we shift the focus toward what's happening around the hobby, what we may have missed on Friday and over the weekend?
Yes, so what's making rounds today? First off, our friends Rip, Pack, and Slab, who we had on the show, if you guys remember, They make great music about the hobby. They have some pretty cool apparel, if you haven't checked it out on their website. The apparel is even loved by NBA All-Star center Jared Allen of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Stevens, if you don't mind, can we roll the video?
Post in the paint like Jared Allen. 10 G's for a set, I ain't talking gallons. Ripping all your packs, man, you really wildin'. I can sell a couple boxes and move to an island.
Post in the paint like Jared Allen. 10 G's for a set, I ain't talking gallons.
It's pretty cool. So, in the Rip, Pack, and Slab Insta post that we just showed, they show Allen wore one of their all-black RPS hoodies as he walked in before a recent game. RPS actually just released a song titled Jared Allen, which you heard in the video that was playing in the background. So I know Allen's a pretty big music guy, I believe. Now I'm starting to wonder, is he a collector as well?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Rip, Pack, and Slab are onto something here, and maybe we'll see a collaboration between them and Jared Allen in the near future.
That'd be pretty cool.
I'm throwing it out there. But, definitely some cool product that they have with the hoodies and that. So make sure you're checking out their website where you can purchase all that. And obviously Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Make sure you're checking out their music as well. Check out the Jared Allen full song on streaming platforms.
Yes.
Okay, so 2 more Cavaliers also made some headlines here. How about recently at a game, Donovan Mitchell was signing a young kid's Evan Mobley jersey, and once he noticed the name on the back of the jersey, he decided to take it upon himself to go get Evan himself to sign the jersey as well. Can we play that, please?
Ahead of the games, loves to sign stuff for the fans. I always see him taking the time to sign it, but check out what he does here. He signs this jersey. It's an Evan Mobley jersey for a young fan. Then he tells the the kid, wait a second, I'm going to go find Evan Mobley and get this signed for you. And you can see right here, now this kid has an Evan Mobley jersey signed by both Evan and Donovan Mitchell. How neat is that, guys? I got to tell you.
Pretty neat indeed. I was typing away in the chat there if you couldn't tell. I'm sure the chat could see. That is dope, though. I mean, yeah, Donovan definitely for the kids. Which actually, was he confused because did he wear 4 before?
I don't know if he wore 4. I think he's always been 45, to be honest with you.
Okay, you're probably right. But maybe he saw the 4 and got tripped up and probably was like, oh, here's my jersey. But obviously a very cool gesture for him there. And you love to see that because we always talk about the negativity of things, you know, surrounding autographs and all that. But obviously that's super cool. So very nice there. And as you can see, where are we? Oh, there we are.
So,
all right. Next, we're heading to the Diamond.
Yeah. So,
you got a little something for us?
Yeah. So while we were in Toronto, actually, I believe I seen it. Well, actually, no, not when we were in Toronto. It was over the weekend. But a Babe Ruth glove. It was a used Babe Ruth glove recently sold at auction. It was Hunt Auctions. The Spalding glove sold for a whopping $1.53 million and broke the record for price paid for a baseball glove. The former record was held by a Lou Gehrig glove, I believe. The glove came from the collection of Jimmy Austin. Austin actually played in the MLB for 18 years and had the glove donated personally by Ruth. The sale took place on Saturday at the 19th Louisville Slugger Museum and Factory live auction. I've actually been there. That factory is amazing. And in a quote from David Hunt, the president of Hunt Auctions, he said, "This monumental glove is truly one of the most historic pieces of its medium to have ever been offered at public auction." Imagine sitting there with the Babe Ruth glove like that.
Imagine trying to catch a ball with that glove.
I know. I just don't know how dudes did it back then. Two hands.
My palm started thinking about it, honestly. But yeah, obviously a piece of history there. Super cool. Looking forward to seeing what that ends up going for.
Yeah, I mean, if it gets sold again, it could probably only go for more. So.
Yeah, you're not wrong. All right. So lastly, Mattress Mac. Do you guys know this name by now? The mattress salesman, that's right, who won a record $75 million on the Houston Astros World Series victory, now has his own trading card made by the one and only, who else would do it, Leaf Trading Cards. The card reads, quote, "Newsflash, Mattress Mac wins record $72.66 million on Astros World Series bet." Additionally, in the card description on Leaf's website, it said, "The exciting Leaf periodical trading card documents the greatest payoff in the history of all sports bets. Mattress Mac's $72.66 million Astros World Series bet. This card is print to order and will be limited to only the final number of copies sold by the deadline on November 16th. So make sure you get those in by Wednesday. Quantity discounts are available on orders of 5 or more. The card is currently $7.99.
That's $7.99. Make sure, don't get it twisted. It's $7.99.
Well said. Thank you for actually pointing that out. Well said. $7.99. Because some people would have been like,
well, $799 for a Mattress Mac card?
Little much.
What is this, a game-used relic auto of
little much.
Mattress Mac?
It's nothing like the JFK relic that Brian Gray was telling us about. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's head to our live guest for the day. We have a legit artist on the broadcast today. It's Lauren Taylor, who is an officially licensed artist for the MLB, MLBPA, and the Baseball Hall of Fame. If you haven't seen some of her work, you must. She's extremely talented and recently won Sports Artist of the Year at the Industry Summit in Las Vegas. So without going too much further, let's welcome on Lauren Taylor. Lauren, good morning. How are you?
Great. How are you guys?
Doing very well. Thanks for waking up for us because I know you're on the West Coast and it's a little bit early, but I don't know. Are you up by this time anyways?
You know, after a long weekend, I'd usually say no, but it's that time of year where we're pretty busy around here, so it's a good excuse to get going.
There you go. A little bit of motivation to get the wheels turning and get the creative juices flowing for sure. Long weekend for us too, so I could understand how you would be on normal normal weekends after that. But
Yes.
I wanted to start off by, I obviously looking at your Twitter, looking at your Instagram. A couple weeks ago, you were featured on the World Series broadcast, and obviously being a Phillies fan yourself, I mean, what was that experience like?
Yeah, I kind of became a Phillies fan in the process, to be honest with you. I'm not a born Phillies fan, but it was just so cool being in that. I was actually in Philadelphia for game 3 and 4, and it was kind of hard not to kind of fall in love with the city and the fan base there. But yeah, the whole experience was, I mean, something I wouldn't have ever imagined was going to be my life. So, yeah, we filmed kind of all day working on those pieces, but obviously long before that not long before, but many hours before that I had been creating the pieces. And it was, it's kind of unique trying to stage the process in an 8-hour time frame instead of what it would usually take to make 2 whole pieces. So it was a really cool, experience. And then, watching it on the big screen, we were in a restaurant in LA because that's where we were filming. And seeing it pop up on the screen. I was with a bunch of Michigan fans. They were all watching the Michigan game. So it was, they had to mute it for a second to put on the baseball game. And I think half the bar was like, what are we doing? But it was pretty cool to see. And then of course I've seen it since then when it's just me and it's quiet and I can actually hear what's happening. So it was pretty unreal.
Yeah, what a special moment there indeed, for sure. Like that's amazing. Like I could only imagine the reaction. And yeah, in that moment, the noise of the Michigan fans probably was just white noise. You just locked in on that.
Oh yeah, I of course instantly started crying too. Did not plan on that. I was just like, yeah, like it was an ugly moment. And then people thought I was wearing a Kreft jersey, and people were probably like, "Wow, very passionate Phillies fan. She's already crying. Weird." Like it was. I feel like most people didn't put 2 and 2 together that I was the one. And so, yeah, it was just, I swear they were just like, oh, wow, it's a very passionate baseball fan. She's a little teary-eyed to start. Okay.
Just in a glass case of emotion.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just like, wah, wah, wah. Everything around me was just like, loud noises. But I was just, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, best part is if you're one of those people who are like, you know what, leave me alone during sports games and that. I'm sure they did that after they saw your reaction. They're probably like, we're not going near her.
Yeah, and there was a few who came up and gave a high five afterwards. Like, was that you? I was like, yeah. And then I'd start getting all weird again and all emotional, and they'd be like, okay, never mind. And then they'd leave, and I was like, sorry, I'm not always this weird. Like, it's just this is a lot. It's a lot to take in. So
you just gotta let me have my moment here.
I'm having a moment, guys. So yeah, it was. And then they were having their moment with Michigan for the rest of the evening. So it was.
Of course.
Yeah.
There you go. Right. Exactly. Everybody goes home happy.
Yeah.
So first thing I want to lead off here with asking you is early last month, you were announced as Sports Artist of the Year at the Industry Summit in Vegas. How did it feel to add that accolade to the resume?
Oh, I mean, that's just such a neat, the title itself is amazing, but the fact that it's fan voted and it's voted on by people, that actually are in the industry, it's a huge honor, and it's a big title. It sounds like such a big title, and knowing, the talent that's out there and the amount of people that, create sports art, it's very humbling when you are announced that. But yeah, I feel like I was lucky enough to have enough votes, but there's lots of people out there that I certainly could be sharing that with. There's some really talented artists, especially that are kind of popping up more and more as we go through, and you see art kind of becoming more popular on cards. So meant a lot, but yeah, definitely inspired by the other artists around me too. So
yeah.
And now, obviously, we know, you work with MLB, MLBPA, and the Baseball Hall of Fame, but when did you get involved with Topps?
Topps, I started with Topps Project 70. When I very first started making sports art, probably 6 years ago, I'd say 5.5 years ago now, maybe a little less, but I actually approached them, and it was a hard pass. All card companies gave me a hard pass. So, I mean, technically, I guess that was my first interaction, but it was kind of like me trying and getting the door shut in my face a little bit. But it worked out better that way, because then when they approached me about Project 70, definitely my art had evolved and it made more sense, and it was a better place to be for working with them. So
Nice.
Yeah.
You know, so with, I mean, for lack of a better term, rejection, but the first time around you reached out to these
It was
cards.
rejection. It was straight up.
Straight up.
Straight up. Yeah.
We'll just call it like it is. We'll call it like it is.
As it was. I got
All right.
shot down by a
Shot.
card company. Yeah.
Shot down. All right. Shot down hard. All right. But so rejection like that, it could be with anything. I mean, this time around, we're obviously talking about the hobby. What does that do for you, though, in terms of motivation or, you know, being told no? How do you take that?
Initially, I was crushed, if I'm honest. It was when I was still working my other job full time. I worked for an investment company, and I think I had started to think I was going to make this transition into doing something I really loved, but never had planned on doing. So kind of getting that rejection right in the middle of thinking like, okay, I'm going to do this was a big blow. Like it took me probably a good month to really be like, okay, you know what? You can keep sulking about this and just do what you do every day with your normal job and let this go. Or you can understand why maybe you got rejected and start finding a way to, you know, make them regret it, was kind of my mindset at the time. You know, is you kind of got to get into that place where you get a little bit of a chip on your shoulder where you're like, nope, I'm going to make them regret this one day. Obviously that's not how it turned out. We ended up working together and but in the moment, kind of that's how I moved past it, was to be like, you know what, I'll find a way to make them wish that they had done this. And, but that took a lot of work. That took a lot of work, a lot of, honing in my craft to make it something that did stand out and that was different. So yeah, initially I was crushed, and I had that time to myself where I just was miserable. I was like, well, nothing works out. You get all upset and you kind of have a little pity party. And then it's like, you have two options. You can either stay in that mindset and just keep doing, what you were always doing, or you can find a way to adapt and maybe understand how do I make them want to work with me? And if not them, how do I build something that's outside of them? How do I make, this still work, even if they don't ever want to work with me?
I love the stories where people just prove people wrong.
Oh yeah, that's what we live. I live for that kind of stuff. I live for that.
Yeah. So moving forward, tell us a little bit about the Lauren Taylor and Topps box that was available for collectors to buy this past summer. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I always have a goal for myself. Like, I'm always trying to think of the next thing. And when I was asked to do Project 70, I saw that, good friends with Blake, and I saw that he had a box set, and I was like, well, that's pretty cool. Like, I think that'd be the ultimate goal, is if I can be successful enough in Project 70 where I'm asked to create a box set. Like, that then became my goal. Even before I released my first P70 card, I was like, that's what I want to do. And that was my whole mission for Project 70, outside of just succeeding at that, is I was like, I want them to want to do a box set with me. So when that came to fruition, it was exciting, but then it was like, oh my God, I have to make 42 pieces of art. Oh my God, in a short amount of time. But it was definitely the most stamina I've ever had to have for a creative project. And it's the fastest I've ever had to do something. So I was exhausted by the time it was done, but to then have it all come together and sell out was, it kind of felt like, came full circle. It was like, okay, all those hours, and I'm glad I didn't cut any corners. I started thinking like, how could I maybe reuse other art, that I've done? And I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I just really put everything into it. And there was a lot of late nights, and a lot of late nights. And, I don't think I had any fingerprints left by the end of it from just like working on wood for every day and night for like 3 months straight. But I'm signing some right now as we're getting ready to put together some advent calendars. And it's like, every time I look at them, it's still kind of surprising that I have my own cards, like my own box set. So yeah, it was pretty cool experience. I hate looking at my face on the box every time though. I made them all, they're all gone. All the boxes are like in a box over there, because I got real tired of looking at my face. And we'd be like opening packs here. And,
we're like, there you are again.
That one chase card. And I'd be like, frick, it's me. Like, I'd just be so choked when I'd open it. It'd be my own face. I'm like, this is the chase card I got. Like, oh my God, it's my own face. Like, not exciting for me at all. I'd be like, oh, I was hoping for like a parallel or something. Nope, got my own face.
Just me.
That's exactly
there I am again.
That's exactly how I feel when I go back and like watch our episodes and hear my voice. I'm like, Oh,
Right?
I don't want to listen to my voice.
Oh, yeah. I hate listening to my own voice. Oh, my God. It's the absolute worst.
Yeah, it's like they're like, oh my God, how cool. I'm like, it was cool, but I'm tired of seeing my face. Like, there's a lot. My face is all over those boxes. I'm just too much of my face.
Yeah,
so,
you're like, let's move on to the next thing, right? Like, all right, it was fun seeing my face for a while, but
yeah, like I'm tired of seeing that picture. But yeah, it's pretty cool though. Still, nonetheless, to have your face on a box set, I guess, is a pretty cool achievement. So
absolutely, no,
that's
you
awesome.
definitely wear that with a badge of honor for sure.
there's you know how social media goes. You love social media because most of the time it's nice. Every once in a while you're like, whoa. And I love this one guy. He gets on there. He's like, well, was going to buy the set till I knew you did a card yourself, loser.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
What the hell is wrong with people?
And I was like, well, thanks for your honesty. Like, but I just love how he's like, had to tell me, he walked me through his whole like thought process. Like, I was going to buy this. And then I saw you made a card yourself and then just capped it off with loser. About died. I was like, well,
Like that.
I appreciate your thoughts on that.
Right,
sir.
like that was going to be the nail.
A little about it too, okay? Paul.
Yeah.
His name wasn't Paul, but
Paul with 20 followers. He doesn't have a profile picture, right? It's
you
probably
just love it. You're just like, oh, well, wow, okay, coming in hot this morning. But yeah, and when I saw that, I was like, for what it's worth, I feel I kind of understand you. Like when I open my pack, I get a little choked too, But, yeah.
maybe that's the proper response. It's like, listen, Paul, I get it. I did the same thing.
Paul. I opened a pack yesterday, and God, there was one of me in it too. Like, no,
Can you believe that?
Yeah, I know. 99.9% of people are super supportive and amazing. But sometimes it's like when people read those mean tweets online, I always laugh. I'm like, oh yeah, I'd have one that I would read. That was a good one. Yeah.
I was just about to say, I think you just took us through our first edition of Mean Tweets, the Chase version.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should do it. In the hobby, I bet you get some good ones.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, yeah. I can only imagine what's out. Only imagine what's out there. But that's what we'll say on that.
Did you see the chat?
I've just read somewhere. I'm like, that was creative. Like you have a knack for that. That was a good one.
Right.
Like, that was a good one. That was thought out.
Exactly. At least be creative, right? Like just don't give me the right,
Yeah. Like, yeah. No. I when you do that segment, I want to be the first to see it.
Okay.
Our chat.
I don't want to be on it. I do not want to be on it, but I want to watch you.
No, we won't have you on it, but we will have you a part of it, watching it. We'll have you a part of it.
We
perfect.
We have a command in our Twitch chat, and it's like to Paul or whatever, and our command is right to jail Paul. So came up on our chat.
Play with them. Yeah. How about one last thing on Paul? Go step on some Legos, and I hope you find a hair in your next meal.
Oh, yeah. Legos are tough. That's a harsh one, but
that's a good one. See, that's what I'm saying when you got to get creative.
You do, yeah. No,
all right.
Most people are amazing though, so no
agree.
complaint.
I agree for sure. There's just always a Paul. There's at least
always
one
a Paul.
don't
Paul. I actually have like a couple really nice Pauls that actually buy my stuff. So thanks, Paul. Most Pauls, you're the best. I don't know why we chose Paul to rip on today.
Yeah.
Sorry, Paul.
Yeah, not a good day to be a Paul, but
We
that's
just
all right.
became a Paul. Oopsies.
Now, I want to know, can you take us a little bit through the artistic part of this product? What was the creative process when illustrating these cards that went into, the Project 70 and then, of course, your collaboration?
Yeah. I used to just do pencil drawings, which is where Lauren Taylor Illustrations came from. And then, kind of started realizing that was more of like a meditative thing for me. I just liked pencil work. And so I evolved into mixed media, which is what I do now on wood, which is kind of it combines various techniques. So I do like a stencil and Illustrator first. That's kind of how I start. And then then I can complete it with paint on wood and ink on wood. But so starting with that is just trying to lay out how I want it to look. Like, how am I going to tell a story? As anyone that's seen my cards and my art sees that there's usually a story within the jersey or within the shirt or hat or helmet or whatever. So trying to decide kind of what do I want to tell in that jersey? Like what moment, what things come to mind when I think of that player, and kind of working backwards. So okay, this is what I want to tell, and then trying to find, because everything with MLB has to be tied back to a Getty image. Not everybody knows that, but you need to it has to be related to an actual image that a Getty photographer took. So then going through the library and trying to find something that has kind of that initial idea I had of like an open space where I could tell that story. And then, just kind of starting to build out those details and put it on wood and start, really kind of just honing in on those details and sharpening them and making them work with the wrinkles of the jersey or the helmet reflections and things like that. And I watch a lot of baseball, so it definitely comes a bit easier for me in that sport. I've been asked to do a couple football or soccer things where, I have to like do a little bit of research ahead of time because I'm not always positive, like their big moments. I'm like, oh, nothing comes to mind off the top of my head, so I have to do a little bit of research. But baseball's always come quite naturally to me because I watch a lot of it. So I just kind of think of like, what do I think of when I think of that player? So,
yeah, it's interesting to me too. It's one of the things when you do have somebody asks you to do football, somebody asks you to do soccer, and you have to do that little bit of research. What's it like when you finish a product like that? Do you almost, not more pride, but you're like, wow, I researched this, I did this, I don't really know much about it, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out.
Yeah, I feel that a lot with the gratitude projects I do. So when I create for somebody that maybe I'm telling them I'm trying to tell a story about them, something I appreciate about them in art, but doing it without them knowing and without a bazillion photos that already exist of what I'm thinking of. So those are the ones I generally feel like. Alicia Keys was one I had a lot of pride with. I know this isn't sport related, but I did a lot of research on her backstory, and when it's presented to her, is like as she started to see the different things in there, she was becoming more and more like, oh my God, and that is that Aretha Franklin, and it kind of they start realizing the thought that you put into it, and that's usually where I have more pride than anything else. It's not like that I knew those things. It's more that I did hit the right things, like I hit the things that did matter to them, like I had hoped they would, which. Doing that requires listening to a lot of interviews, a lot of like those, podcasts, things like that, where they talk about their story a little bit more in depth, and it's not just the stuff we see on TV or on the screen. So sports are a little bit easier because we know everybody's highlight reels. You can look up top 10 plays, or something like that, and you kind of have an idea. But when you're really trying to do something personal, that's when it's a lot of fun because you have to kind of dig into their actual story and stuff about them.
Yeah, finding the right story, you really have to dig deep. And I think you and I, from a journalist standpoint, know a bit about that. From an artistic standpoint, that's pretty
whole different
impressive.
Animal.
Yeah, that's a whole different animal. Speaking, of that, people that are able to put, pen to paper, your, brush to canvas, anything artistic, they amaze me. What would your advice to young artists looking to make a name for themselves through sketch art, like we see, what would your advice to them be?
Don't listen to kind of the antique. For me, at least, it was about creating because I like to create, and not like pencil drawings. Yeah, it was more organic. It was more of an antique view of art where I just, a pencil and a paper, and I just created it. And when I started doing mixed media, a lot of antique views of art. So like, oh, well, you used a digital stencil. Yes. Oh, that's not art then. That's kind of the stuff that started to get kind of find its way in my brain and kind of create causes like little bits of doubt where I was like, maybe, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be doing it, or maybe I should go back to pencil work. But really, it's about just using whatever you have and making it art. There is no definition, I don't feel like, for art. If it's something you've put together and you like doing it, then don't worry about what everybody else says makes it real art. That was my biggest hang up, and probably the reason why I never considered art as a potential career. Like I was like, no, I don't think I could. I was like, no, I can't look at a 3D. I can't look at a model and draw it perfectly or paint it with oil painting on a canvas. So therefore I'm not an artist, and that kind of really put me in a box where I felt like I just wasn't an artist then. So I wouldn't try new things. And once I was able to kind of stop worrying about that and just make what I like to make, and if people like it, then great. It just became so much more fun, and it really freed up my I wasn't afraid of failure then. It was more like, let's just make stuff. People like it, great. If they don't, then, well, you already have a job. So.
Right. And I think that's what is very, people are afraid if they don't have a backup plan to kind of take a chance on themselves like that. So I thought it was interesting. Obviously, you talked there that you worked for an investment firm, and you know sometimes you're like, I don't know. But when did it finally just hit that you finally just took that chance? You're like, all right, you know what? I'm done talking about it. Let's do it. Let's actually do this art thing. When did you kind of make that leap of faith?
The specific moment was when I got the full page spread in USA Today with an art piece I had done for PGA Tour. I felt like that was my sign, and I just did it. But it was the scariest thing I've ever done, was writing a resignation letter to a company that was stable, for a paycheck that I could predict, a life that I had kind of planned on, to just make, even now people are like, what do you do for a living? I'm like, I'm an artist. And I swear they all look at me like, oh, you live with your parents? Like, you know, it immediately is just assumed that it's a tough thing to hack, you know, like to figure out how to do. So that was my actual moment. But I think for me, the moment I realized I needed to do something different in general that was more fit for me was after my head injury. I couldn't focus the same way I used to. And I felt like I was no longer the type of employee I wanted to be at where I was working. I wasn't all there. I wasn't passionate about what I was doing. I was just there to punch a clock. And I have always really tried to steer away from being someone that complains about my job. I don't like being one of those people that's like, oh, I hate what I do for a living, because I truly feel we have a little bit more control over that than we like to pretend we do. We could do more. It's just scary. So I had to kind of have a little talk with myself about that. And like, do you want to keep just showing up and hope that you get less bored of this as time goes on? And that didn't make any sense. So yeah, I think I kind of had like a little bit of a personal crisis with myself. Like, this isn't working. So what do you want to do? Do you want to just shift into another job that isn't what you love? Or do you want to take a risk here? So that was kind of, I guess, what happened.
Yeah.
Those little powwows that you have with yourself are where you really learn the most about yourself.
Boy,
yeah,
that hits home.
That's
hits
what
home
I've,
for sure.
I've
I'm sitting here smiling and nodding, because I'll tell you right now, I would be lying if I said I didn't go through the same thing you did. So it's nice to know I'm not the only one. We're not the only one. You know, I feel like a lot of people go through that.
Yeah.
No, and there's always that dip. Like, people are like, oh, you're so lucky, you just immediately it worked out. I'm like, no. Like, I dipped into savings that I had hoped would stay savings for a long time before it started to work out. Like, it didn't just happen. And, you know, I always say I'm 10% artist, 90% business entrepreneur, because it truly feels that way. I mean, the amount of talent that's out there, you have to find a different gear. You have to love what you do to put in the time in order to be successful in such a competitive market, really. I mean, art is competitive. There's a lot of amazingly talented people out there. So how do you stand out? And that's where, you know, I kind of had to make sure that I loved it enough that I wouldn't mind being here all night some days, or, you know, staying up and trying to get a World Series piece done, because the teams have been decided and I've got 48 hours before I'm on a plane to film this thing. Like, do I still love this, or is that feel like hell on earth to stay up and do? And it doesn't. So I'm lucky that I really do love what I do. So.
And, you know, moving forward, still talking about well-being and, you know, your best self, you're very vocal about mental health, specifically yours. How do you think this hobby can help someone who may be struggling with their mental health?
Yeah, well, art for me has always been, even before I was doing it for anyone, it was the way that I could talk about things in a less vulnerable way. So I could make a really vulnerable art piece, you know, where I am kind of saying like my deepest fears and things that scare me and things I'm struggling with, but just say it's just an art piece at the end of the day. So it was always a way that I could kind of be vulnerable, but in a protective way. It's also a way that I found to use my words for things I don't actually have words for. Like, there's a piece I did after my concussion where I'm kind of looking off to the side and I'm smiling, but in my brain is someone in a fetal position. And that's kind of what I felt like. It was like I did not understand my brain. but I was presenting outward that I was fine, but because I was so confused, I was so lost. And so art's kind of always been, a segue into learning how to talk about things. And as I mentioned with pencil work, I can't focus on jack. I have the worst attention span. But for some reason with pencil work, I could just kind of zone in and I forget about things, which for me, in my life, that is a rare thing, to be able to just zone out and not think. I am an overthinker, to put it lightly. So, art's been an escape. And I think for other people, they get kind of lost in collecting too. Like that's a great way for them, to, as long as it's still healthy and they're doing it in a way that makes them happy and not being miserable that they don't land a 1 of 1 every time. Because I've seen it go the other way too. But as long as you can still find joy in that, I think anything that distracts us from, the everyday nuances of just being a human in 2022, where life isn't always easy. And, we all are grappling with all sorts of different things, between art, collecting, sports were a great way out of mental health struggles for me. So anything that you can do that reminds you of something deep within that still is alive, I think is really, really helpful when you're in a place where everything feels dark.
Agreed.
Perfectly said.
I think that's, well said for sure. That's a lot of collecting, I feel like, that nostalgic feel, people think about better times when they were kids collecting baseball cards, football cards, hockey cards, whatever it may be. So I feel like that brings a lot of joy to a lot of folks and can definitely help.
Totally agree.
So now a couple more questions for you before we let you go. One here. So, many people feel like they have imposter syndrome or, don't feel like the work they're doing is meaningful or good enough. And you kind of touched on this a little bit, but, did you ever feel that way throughout your career?
Yeah. When I first learned what imposter syndrome and the name imposter syndrome, it felt like the most relieving thing ever. A therapist actually told me, she's like, it's imposter syndrome. I'm like, come again? I looked it up and I was like, holy, that is exactly how I feel. And what's helped with that is work ethic. So at the end of the day, it still comes up all the time where I'm like, you know what? I'll see somebody who literally can be sitting there and not have any reference photos and they just create something where I'm like, that is magical. Like, I am not an artist. Like, oh my God, I am not good. Why am I? Then I start to dial it back and I'm like, why have you been successful? Well, you work hard. You work a lot of hours. You practice your craft. You spend a lot of time engaging. All of those things you can't take away. So I can't take away all that time I put in there. And I think once you put in the work, you stop worrying about why you got there. I still do, but it definitely helps when at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm outworking people, if nothing else. Not everyone, but I'm outworking enough people that I'm succeeding. So it helps for me to take out the art part of things because that's so subjective to so many different people. I stop worrying about that and I start worrying about just like, what am I doing day to day to make sure that I succeed? And most of the time it's just getting better at art. It's engaging and it's putting in maybe just 10 minutes more than the other person, 1 hour more than the other person, working just a little bit harder. Because I will never be the first to tell you that I was born the most talented artist. I wasn't. I still don't think I'm even in the top 10% of what's out there, top 50%. I mean, there's just a lot of talent out there. So I stopped worrying so much, and it's not always, but it's helped stop worrying so much about it by just thinking about what I can control. I can't control how someone else views my art or if they think it's real, but I can control how hard I work. And the one other thing that helped a lot was I love Dr. Maya Angelou. I think I read a lot of her stuff. I think she's incredibly inspiring. She had imposter syndrome. She talks a lot about it. So I feel like I'm in pretty damn good company. It just goes to show that it doesn't mean that's the truth. It just is what some people struggle with. So it doesn't mean I'm an imposter just because I feel that way. So remembering that's been helpful.
Yeah, and then a topic that a lot of people don't like to talk about in the hobby, but they should be talking about is the topic of inclusivity. And in the hobby, there are times where women are looked at differently just because they're in the hobby. Have you ever felt this way, or do you feel as though the hobby is changing and becoming more inclusive?
Yes and yes. I think we are getting better. I felt it in ways that I find everyone's looking for me to slip up on a fact about sports or or be incorrect about a moment. And it's like, you know, I don't have the forgiveness of accidentally remembering something, you know, wrong or saying the wrong stat. Or my favorite is when someone will be like, "Oh, what was so and so's ERA his second year of college?" I'm like, "You don't even know that. You have to Google that." Like, can you stop acting like you have that in your noodle just floating around? Like, but you know, there seems to be like this. Well, name a few people on the team. It's like, well, I can name a few of the prospects in their system. Like, you know, but there's always this assumption that we know less about sports. So how could we possibly be in the hobby? We don't know what we're doing. We don't know what we're talking about. But I feel like with you know, and even with tops, like there was only 5 artists in Project 70, which I think was a bit disappointing given how many slots there were, 51 artists. So, you know, I think we're getting better. The fact that there were some female artists is a great start. And I think, you know, I get asked to be on these type of podcasts all the time, which I think is also a good sign. There's a lot of really respectable women in the hobby. There's a lot of respectable female artists out there, and combining the two, I think it's just like all things, it's catching up. It'll get there. But it takes time. And I tell you, your slip ups on anything like that definitely get noticed a little bit more. But at the end of the day, I know enough. I know that I know enough to make what I do work. So yeah, I also know that Buddy doesn't remember that ERA from, you know, so-and-so's second year of junior college either. So we all have Google, sir. You know, like, she just kind of, you know, it's like, all right. But yeah, I think it's getting a lot better. And I mean, I feel like I've been really embraced by so many collectors that I would be hard pressed to say that I don't feel like there is a lot of people that are all for both genders in the hobby. So
Yeah. I would agree. I think it's nice to know that hopefully sooner rather than later, and as we go along now, that we are going to minimize the amount of Pauls that are going to come after you with the junior college stats.
So glad you said that.
you're like, huh, okay. I'm like, well, let me just Google it like you did, and I'll get right back to you.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Let me just give me a couple minutes. Let me Google this, sir.
Play the Google War if you want, but yeah. So
baseballreference.com/Paul.
Pretty easy. We can all go there. But
yep. We gotta like use a different name. There's some Paul at home that's like, I did nothing to deserve this.
I know. It just
Jeff.
Sometimes we just like a callback, you know, every once in a while we like a good callback joke. So Paul was there. It was low hanging fruit. I had to go for it.
Yeah, I think I said it first, so it's my fault.
It's okay. Fault. We'll put a disclaimer at the end of the episode or something.
I really can't think of a Paul I don't like, so we're clear. I honestly would be, there's no Paul that I'm secretly like suppressing that I want to say his name. There isn't. I love Pauls as far as I know.
Shout out all the good Pauls.
So we'll say at the end of the
Paul. Cheers to Paul.
Shout out Paul. At the end of the episode, we'll put no Pauls were hurt in the making of this episode.
And if we weren't talking about you, Paul.
No, not you, Paul. No, we would never talk about you, Paul.
Not you, Paul. A different Paul.
Oh, well, Lauren, we've had such a fun time. I wish we had more times. Hopefully we'll get a chance to do this again. But before you leave, please let everybody know social media, where they can find you and where they can find your art.
Sure. I also feel like I need to like upgrade like what's behind me in the future for this. Like, you guys have such a fancy little setup.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you got a cool studio.
Am I on ESPN this morning? Like, where am I? You guys look good. You look good.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. My Twitter is the only one that's different. It's LT Illustrations. Everything else is Lauren Taylor Illustrations, including my website, laurentaylorillustrations.com. So.
Okay, great. Awesome. So there you go. You guys got it now. I know the people are usually pretty good in the chat about dropping the links, so I'll know they'll drop that in the chat too. But Lauren, once again, thank you so much for joining us. And
thank you.
Obviously, we'll let you go now, and you can get back to all that creativity you got and put the pen to the paper, the pencil to the paper.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, guys.
Anytime. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a good one.
Take care. Bye-bye.
That was fun.
That was fun, yeah.
It was a good time. Lots of laugh there.
Yeah,
Lots of laughs there.
We never really dive into the art aspect of the hobby either, so
No.
it was cool to jump into that.
No, photography and artistry of cards is something that, I feel like is a little corner. You worry so much about the autographs. You worry so much about the parallels.
relics and
that,
all,
maybe you don't really focus enough on the art. So, it was nice to have Lauren on there. And, thanks so much to her for doing that. Hopefully, just like everybody, we'll talk to her again.
Yes.
But a couple more minutes here in the show. So why don't we wrap it up with, of course, box rip giveaway. This is a quick one, so we should be able to end on time. We've got 2022 Origins football 1-pack there. But how are we going to, number one, how are we going to have the people win this? What should we have them do in the chat? Does the chat have any idea? You guys got any ideas on how people should enter to win this?
Obviously, it's football, so I'm sorry, I can't keep a straight face right now, but football, so what do we... I think we've already done Rookie of the Year.
I think we did.
So... Super Bowl matchup?
Did we do that already?
Did we?
I don't know. All right, we'll do that. Best joke. Best joke, eat a horse heart. I don't think we could do that.
Yeah, no, I'd rather not.
I don't know.
I'm not so hungry.
How many hairs does J.J. Watt have? Is that a joke? All right, let's do Super Bowl matchup. Who you think is going to be the two teams in the Super Bowl? Who's going to be representing the AFC? Who's going to representing the NFC in the Super Bowl? So give us your Super Bowl matchup. But now it is time for the box rip. But as always, somebody forgot to give me a cutter, and I don't have a cutter. There it is. Thanks. Thanks, Patrick. Patrick the Dolphin, ladies and gentlemen, with the assist once again. There it is, the dolphin noise. I can't tell you how... I walked in the room and I saw them constructing that, and I was like, what is happening?
Troy actually ran into the tape one time before the show.
Knocked it over. Of course I did, because I'm a mess. I'm an absolute mess. Okay, here we go. Can I get the above camera? I sure can. Okay, here we go.
I'm gonna
Make
come
sure you're
over there.
putting in your Super Bowl matchups. And hello to everybody in the chat. I think this is... Yeah, I knew it slid out. All right, there you go. Whoa. There it is. All right, take that out. 1-pack, empty box. 1-pack, everybody knows the rules. Let's do the Chase Schvetter here. Oh, yeah, we are doing football. Use the football one. Thank you. All right, here we go. A lot of air at the top here. A lot of room at the top. All right, nothing crazy thick. So let's see what we got. Thick. Off the top, we've got the Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams rookie card coming up here. That is going to be Tyquan Thornton. Tyquan Thornton rookie. Patriots rookie.
Actually caught a couple touchdowns this year too.
Ooh, guys. We got the Sauce. How about out of 199 giant napkin patch of Ahmad Sauce Gardner. There you go. Rookie patch for ya. Jets. Jets.
Saucy.
Sauce Gardner. That's a little saucy. Okay, this is our autograph. Ooh, it's a rookie. It's a rookie auto for the Texans. Oh, okay. John Mechie the third. Above. That's interesting. I feel like you don't see the auto above too often. So there you go. John Mechie the third. Rookie auto there.
He hasn't played yet due to leukemia, but they're expecting him back probably next season. So look out for John Mechie.
All right, let's do these cards here. First, we've got a playoff Lenny out of 299. Playoff Lenny out of 299. And then how about Aaron Rodgers out of 99? And then you see we got a redemption here. All right, we got a redemption. Yeah, the auto. I love that actually, Aviator. That the auto, it's in a nice clean white space for them where they have the pen. All right, I don't want to show this. Okay. Origins rookie jumbo jersey. Okay, so it's gonna be a rookie patch auto. Number 156. Ooh, all right.
Not bad.
How about a rookie patch auto redemption of Sam Howell?
Rookie for the Commanders.
And unfortunately, you can't see that. There you go. You can kind of see it. It's hard. There you go. There you got it. Rookie patch auto of Sam Howell. Okay, I'll take it. How about it? All right, so if you guys want to enter to win these cards, please make sure you are putting in the chat your Super Bowl matchup. Who you think is going to represent the AFC, who you think is going to represent the NFC. And also, make sure you are watching the YouTube replay because if you didn't catch it live, you can obviously enter the giveaway there as well. Oh, hey guys. Welcome David back to the show.
Sorry.
All right, let's close it out now. Obviously, great show today. Thank you again to Lauren Taylor. I thought that was an awesome interview. And thanks to all of you for watching as always. We will be live on Instagram right after this on DA_the Chase with the Chase Unplugged, of course. So join David and I to talk more hobby, if you will. Make sure you're staying tuned to the Twitch channel because Jersey John will be on with personal and group breaks all day long. Make sure you're there. Catch us on Spotify and Apple too if you can't watch the video. And of course, the video on demand will be on YouTube. That's right, youtube.com/DACardWorld. So make sure you are checking it out there. But until then, we will be back on Wednesday with more hobby talk, baby. We love talking hobby.
Springfield, we know Wednesday's the 69th episode.
Sure is.
Nice.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, just remember, it's all about the chase. Oh, God, I just missed it. Anyways, top chat or people out. We'll see you Wednesday.